God's name is going on in here?
Episode 67, man. Back here with the 52. Now, we're not at the headquarters this week. This week, we're at a disclosed location. We're at the DeFrance compound, man. At the DeFrance compound. James, thank you for having us, man.
Absolutely.
Thank you,
Glad
man.
to do it, man.
He fed us here. We got some cocktails flowing. We're having a good time. It's a good time, and this is awesome. We've been wanting to come here for a while to check out James's man cave here. And this is, if you can't see behind us, we got the whole spread here, the whole schmear. It's beautiful, man. It's like you stepped in time, man. It's like you stepped in time, and it's awesome. 67. We've taken a little hiatus, man. People don't know out there, but we've been off for a little bit. We took a little break. Father's Day and some other things came up, so we've been off for a couple weeks. So this is our first time back in about 2 or 3 weeks, I think it is. So if we're rusty, so be it. I'm sure we'll get through it. But we're here, 67, and for the 67, I had the Boston Strangler was convicted. The Boston Strangler, 1967. The Boston Strangler was convicted. The Grateful Dead released their first album called The Grateful Dead, all original. And lastly, the last thing I had, well, kind of lastly, not really. Muhammad Ali was, I think he refused to go to the military for Vietnam. This was apparently it happened in Houston. I didn't know that it happened in Houston where he got, I don't know if they locked him up, but he went through a lot. He didn't go to jail. He didn't go to jail or anything like that. He just kind of he went through court systems and stuff, and he got out of it. But there was that. And then the last thing I had, I'm sure Jennifer will like this, 1967, I think it was May 1st. Elvis got married in Vegas with Priscilla, right? I think that's what it was. May 1st, yeah, in Vegas. James, you got any 67? Anything from 67? Anything good?
That was a little bit before I was born. I know some stuff. There was a lot. That was happening times.
It was.
All those years, there was a lot of stuff happening. The music was great.
Oh, yeah, dude.
The space race was going on.
Oh, that's
so,
right.
I mean, there was, it was the beginning of the Vietnam War era. So, I don't know the specifics, but that general vicinity of 67, man, there was a lot of stuff. That was
good stuff, man.
That was historic years.
Like I said, I didn't know the Ali thing took place in Houston. That's what I was reading. I was reading the caption, or not the caption. I was just reading the info and said something about Houston. But yeah, Ali was he was huge, man. It was weird to see him not. I read about this all the time. I've read about this 100 times. Seeing him that he just didn't want to go to the Vietnam War and changed his name, right, to Muhammad Ali. He used to be Cassius Clay. Right, he's always gonna be Cassius Clay to me. So, but yeah, he changed his name to Cassius Clay, or to Muhammad Ali to get away from the war and whatnot. But yeah, man, this is nice to be back again. James, this is cool, man. It's very cool, man. You gave us the nice spread with the charcuterie board. We came up in here. We got the hot dogs.
I can't have you come here leaving hungry, man.
No, I'll be talking bad about you. We came here. We're recording this, and when this comes out, it'll be July 10th or something like that, mid-July. But we're here. It's 4th of July right now. We're recording 4th of July, so we had the hot dogs, a little Americana here. Jennifer hates that word, Americana. I love it. But we had the hot dogs, and it was great, man. And this is nice for us to hang out. We never get to hang out because when I'm at the watering hole, I'm usually running around like a chicken with my head cut off. So to get to be able to sit here and have some old fashions, it's good, man. By the way, this is amazing. This is very smooth. Usually when I get these, they're awful. They're usually awful.
Most places don't know how to make the basic drinks. Like if you wanted something fruity or whatever, they can do it. But most places nowadays, you tell them something basic, old school, classic, and they have no idea.
No clue.
How to really make it right. So
I know you. What else? Like I said, the whole spread here is cool. Like everything, every inch of it is history. It's a part of history. There's barbershop chairs. There's the old jukebox, man. We came in, and when we came in, it was like I said, stepping back in time. You had the jukebox playing. It was an old, what was it, 40 song?
Yeah, 40s, probably 40s, 50s era
and
stuff.
It's insane.
Mainly on there.
The thing that got me, man, was that the jukebox playing, and when you showed me and we'll have video and images of all this stuff on the podcast, but the peep show, dude, holy shit, man, the peep show is amazing,
the
man.
nickel show, man.
That is cool, man. I mean, I guess these things were set up in public, huh? I'm guessing
something like that obviously would have been in a bar or an adult setting. As tame as it is by our standards today, at one point, a nickel was a lot of money back then, and somebody was willing to throw down a nickel to see shoulders, knees,
and toes.
You can almost see the outline of something through
Oh
this.
yeah.
Or, you know?
The thing that bothers me is like, there was always that pervert in public, probably, copping a feel on himself, trying to get a little feel on himself in the public. But I think that's cool. I think that it's cool that it works. You put the coin in there, it works. It's fantastic, man. I think it's cool. Like I said, we'll show some pictures of it in post there. Yeah, man, it's just cool. I'm glad we finally got to sit down and hang out for a change. I don't have to, be running around serving beer to anybody. So this is great. But I wanted to hop into it. I asked you if you had watched. Again, I'm a big Netflix guy. Since we've been on hiatus for a little bit here, like I said, nobody's known that, but we've been on hiatus, and I've been catching a lot of TV, man. So a lot of Netflix, a lot of Hulu, and I came across, and I mentioned this to you about the Netflix special, the American Gladiators thing,
Right?
Behind the scenes thing, and I didn't know. I didn't know that this the pilot. I didn't know how old it was. The original pilot was like an '87, man, and I had no clue, man. It's I didn't know it was that old. I thought it was like '90s or something like that. But '87, it was. Like I said, I didn't have no clue, and then like I said, I wanted to. I loved it because it was a step back into. For me, watching this program was really cool to see it because it's like I was obsessed with that show. I loved it. I loved like when they had the people with the cannon shooting at the people. Like I loved it when it got like into I think it was like the third season when it got really good. They were saying in the third season is when it got really really good, and I loved the shooting of the cannon, the tackling and shit like that. I was blown away by all that stuff, man. It was just I wanted to do it. Like, and the reason why it was so intriguing to me because it could be Joe Blow just off the street could go over there and go against these guys, man. So that's what I found interesting because at the beginning they said it wasn't interesting because they had buff people going against the gladiators. It was like buff people they found going against the gladiators, and then that was boring because it was just like strong on strong.
Right.
So having Joe Average come in and going against these gladiators and getting the best of them was really cool, man. So I was always to see behind the scenes, like Nitro was always my guy. I always liked Nitro, and it was a shame. And of course, I had a big crush on Ice, and like I said, we'll have in post production we'll have an image of Ice, and then to find not a big. I mean, it's not big. Either way, it's good for you, whatever. I don't care, but I didn't know she was playing for the other team. I didn't know that,
right.
But she was she was the best looking one on the show, and I just, of course, it figures that she would, play for the other team. It was okay, but she was always nice to look at, and I loved her crimped hair and her frosted tips. There, she was a looker, man. But yeah, did you dig it? Did you like the?
I mean, it completely caught me off guard to some extent. I mean, I probably should have known that there was a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes, but when I watched it, I was young. To me, that was just good, clean American fun, and then you see what was going on behind the scenes. And yeah, I mean, it's a whole different, they were living that rock star, lifestyle, man, just sex and drugs and,
roids.
And
roids, man. The roid was getting them, man.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Not to give it away, not to give away the whole show, but if you sit down and watch, I think it's like 4 parts or something like that. It could have been less, or I think it was 6 parts, but I think it was just interesting to get the behind the scenes. And dude, it was shitty how they didn't get paid nothing, man. Like
that was
they
horrible.
made like the base. Like
that was horrible.
Yeah.
What they were putting those guys through, especially when they started merchandising, making dolls and all that, and they get nothing, no cut.
Can we find some of those dolls? You think?
Probably. I'm sure we can.
Those action figures, they were cool as shit, man. But yeah, that was sad that they didn't get any royalties off the toys or the t-shirts, all that, the merch and everything. That was a shame. And they went through a lot of pain, man. They went through a lot of injuries and shit, man. Like the first season, I know they were bitching because they're like the guys who created the show didn't think about, hey, there's gonna be injuries here, and they didn't think about that shit. So they had to hire more gladiators and shit, and so that was something I didn't know. That's why they brought in more gladiators and shit. And then what was it? And then one of the guys, I forget what his name was. I always forget his damn name. He looked like a lion. Do you remember that guy's name? He looked like a lion.
Talking about the surfer.
The surfer.
Or the guy that pretended to be a surfer. He was like, I've never surfed a day in my life. But yeah, he played that character. Yeah.
Him, it was just like the Nitro, or I forgot who it was that was talking shit. Gemini, the big black gentleman. He's like, dude, I could tell when I saw that guy, he couldn't take a punch. He was lightweight. He was just a good looking guy. Like he couldn't take no hits, man. But to watch that program, man, it took me back to being that kid. Again, it's just I love when that happens, man. When you're watching something, it just takes you back to when you used to watch it, sitting on the couch watching it, eating chips and shit, and just watching these guys. It took me back instantly watching that. So I didn't want to. We blew through it. Like we watched all the episodes. We went through all of them in one evening. Oh, Malibu was his name. Of course, it was his name. Malibu was his name. Yeah. Dude, I was he had fantastic hair, but he was just weak. He wasn't manic, so he didn't make it. He didn't make it. I think he had a concussion. He
got hurt. He got hurt pretty bad.
Yeah, that one of my favorite ones was was it that cannonball thing where they come down, the contestant comes down and they swing and they slam.
I think that's where he got hurt.
That's the one
that got knocked off of there and freaking bent over. I mean, he got folded in half.
Yeah, he had the lawn chair. Yeah, he I think he hit his knee on his own forehead and shit. Yeah, but these guys, man, they were tough, man. It was just I couldn't believe the shit they went through, the knee injuries and shit they went through, and they were tough, man. Like I said, I was impressed, man. I didn't know that they did all that. And then what's the other thing I was going to say? That's what it was. In the third season, that's what I was going to say. The third season, they got better with the lighting. They brought in a better director. They had better angles and shit. Because before it was just a shitty like side angle, and then they switched it up where you could before there was GoPros. That director made GoPros, like he put it on a camera on a stick, and he put it. It was really cool, man, how they did that shit, man. Like I said, they were ahead of their time.
Yeah,
I think they were ahead of their time, man. What else? And then towards the end, the sad part was like when after all the glitz and glamour was done, they I think it was on what was it? Was it the Universal Studios? Was it that or in Florida? Yeah. They had like they turned it into like a restaurant, kind of like
that was
horrible. It reminded me of what's the one? The jousting one.
Medieval times or something like that.
It was like that. And you get dinner. You get a dinner and shit with the gladiators. I was like, holy shit, that's sad, man.
Yeah,
it was rough, man. But like I said, that show will forever be one of my favorites. That and what's the other one? I used to like the other show, Wipeout. I used to one of my other favorite shows, that Wipeout show where they had
that was like later 90s, right?
Yeah, later later. But I dug that a lot. But yeah, anybody check it out, man. Another show. I know Tessa go. Anytime we tell these things, she goes and checks them out. So Tessa, if you're out there, check out the American Gladiators. It's the Muscles and Mayhem, the unauthorized story of American Gladiators. It's really good. Check it out. Like I said, it's like six
or
parts
don't.
Either way,
because I don't know that I'll ever watch it the same again.
I was scarred now. Yeah,
I don't think I can watch it from the same view as I did when I was a kid. Like if I would have just put on an episode, I'd have felt like I was a kid again watching it. But after seeing that and knowing the behind the scenes, I don't know. I think if I watched it now, it wouldn't be the same. It wouldn't take me back the way. So yeah, I mean, it was interesting to watch. I'm not going to say I regret watching it, but it definitely changes. Sometimes ignorance is bliss. It's just.
No, I agree with that. It's just like watching the behind. I probably said this before on the show, but watching the behind the music, those VH1 specials. Right. When I saw the Creed thing, I was torn apart, man. I didn't know that Scott Stapp was that much of a piece of shit. It made me sad because I love Creed, and Scott Stapp was one of my. I used to love his voice and everything, and I just found out he was a piece of shit. And it's sad, but I'm starting to learn not to watch these behind the scene things. It's just like social media, man. Like that's what they were saying. Like when they were on the tour bus and shit, those gladiators are like, dude, I'm glad there was no fucking TikTok. I'm glad there was no Instagram because we were doing some heinous shit. They were doing some heinous shit. Yeah, they're doing some stuff, man. They were doing some things. Let me see where else we can. I was gonna jump into another Netflix thing that I was checking out, and I don't know if you guys seen this or not. Or it's called Take Care of Maya. It's dude. It's again. It took place. This take place in Florida because I know like the Gladiators thing took place in Florida towards the end. This one took place in Florida too. It was a family. This was 2016. They had a little girl. Her name was Maya. She was 10 years old at the time. She was getting sick at home. Her mom was a nurse, and her dad was a firefighter. And she was getting sick. She was getting like throwing up, and her bones started aching and shit. So they took her to the hospital, and they couldn't figure out what was wrong with her, man. They couldn't figure out what was wrong with her. They couldn't diagnose it. She was like screaming in pain and stuff at night. Finally, they came across this specialist, this doctor, and she had this. It was called CPRS, and it's with the joints, right? I think it was with the joints or something like that. And the only way the doctor was the only one that knew how to fix this. And he goes, you have to give her, what did I say was ketamine, big doses of ketamine, and it would relax the bones or the joints or whatnot. So they had to do that. But he goes, I can't do that. I'm not allowed to do that. But what you can do, you can take her down to Mexico. Right. Mexico, I think it was Mexico. You take her down there, and they can give her this medicine. That we can't do that here in America. It's different. There's rules. You can't do that. So they take her down there. They give her the medicine. They give her the ketamine, and like she starts getting well again. Like what it was, she couldn't even like pick her arm above her head, or like she was just like her feet started like claw, or her feet were like locking up, and it was a sad situation. She was 10 years old, man. She couldn't move and shit. But they gave her that medicine, the ketamine. She started moving again, started moving around. So they come back to the States, and she's doing fine. She's doing good, and it starts happening again, right? Starts happening again. So they take her down to Florida, and I forget what hospital it was in Florida. They took her down to, was it St. Jude? No, it wasn't St. Jude. No. Anyway, take her down to a hospital. The hospital takes her in, and they're like, "Hey, man, we can't give her this medicine. You know,
Right.
this is bad. You know." And the parents are like, "Well, she's got, you know, we have this doctor that's, you know, he's a credible doctor. He's not no bullshit doctor. And he told us what she has. We never heard of that disease." It goes on and on. There's a problem. So the little girl's in the hospital, and they tell the mom, the dad is there. Again, the mom is very strong-willed, very outspoken woman. She doesn't take no shit. And the dad, you know, dad loves his daughter. He's in there. He's in the hospital visiting the little girl. And they tell the dad, you know, we think this is child abuse, what you guys are doing to her. We think this is child abuse. And the dad's like, well, she's just, you know, this is what we did. We gave her the ketamine. They go, yeah, I think you're giving her this medicine is illegal. It's not cool. It's like we frown upon this. And they wouldn't give it to her. And then she started getting really sick again, right? She started getting locked up and stuff again, and her joints and whatnot. And so they tell them, this lady comes in. It's the dad, and he's visiting her daughter. This woman comes in with the hospital, and he didn't know that she was what's it called? A social worker. And she's asking him, you know, is this your daughter? You know, so on and so forth. And asking, he goes, and the thing that pissed me off about the dad's like, well, who the hell are you? Like, where's your credentials? Who are you? He didn't do that. He was just going along with his woman and telling her all the things. You know, yeah, we took her down to Mexico to do this and give her this medicine and all this shit, you know. And the lady's like, well, this is abuse, and we're going to take your daughter away from you, so you got to leave. And they made him leave the hospital. The mom calls and is like, what's going on? You know, the mom's at work, and she calls the dad, and she's like, what's going on? She's like, well, they took her away from us because they say what we're doing, this medicine we're giving her is like, it's abuse. The dosage that they're giving her is like abuse on our end, and they think we're making it up. They think that this disease is made up, and we're bullshit, and we're lying, and we're just trying to give her drugs and drug her up and shit. Because they thought the mom was a nutcase because she was very aggressive. Right. So they thought she was a nutcase, and the hospital was like, there was an issue there with her, and the mom would always have an issue with the nurses and whatnot. There was always a beef and problem. So again, they took the girl away, so the little girl had to stay. She ended up staying like 30 days in the hospital there and the parents couldn't see her. And then the mom would come and ask, you know, did you guys give her medicine? She needs this much at this hour or this time. And the hospital's like, hey, you know, stop harassing us. And she goes, I'm not harassing. I'm just checking on my kids. She goes, but they're harassing. And then so her and the husband get into it because the husband's like, you know, hey, you can't be this aggressive to these people because they're gonna cut us off altogether where we can't even speak to her and shit. The shitty part was like when she would talk to her daughter, the social worker would be in the room, and if the mom would start asking her too many questions that were too leading, that social worker would get on and say, hey, we're going to end this call. Like, if you don't knock it off, you're going to talk to her like you're talking to her, how you doing, you know, how's your day, whatever, but don't talk to her like trying to ask who's, you know, what they're giving you and shit. So long story short, man, the shitty part of it is the hospital, they kept, like I said, they kept her 30 days, like over Thanksgiving, Christmas, all that. She missed Christmas with the family and everything. And then in the end, the mom kept fighting for her. And then in the end, the mom, well, spoiler alert. I didn't want to say that, but yeah, the mom. Sorry about that. Yeah, it was a shitty thing. Now the girl is she's 17 now. Maya's 17 now, and then like they're suing the hospital. And then when this started coming out, when all this stuff started coming out, when they sued the hospital and said all this shit would start coming out, there was the other parents saying, well, yeah. I was having the same thing, and they put me in jail because I didn't have the money. Because this family was well to do. The dad was, like I said, the dad was a firefighter, and the mom was a nurse, you know, high end nurse, and so they were well to do, and they had money. And there were some people that had less. They weren't as, you know, in as good a position, and some of the parents went to jail, but they had issues with this hospital for a long ass time, but it was a sad shit. But anyway, so I think they're going to litigation, or they're finishing it up now, and I think there's a result now, but I'm not sure. September, that's what it was. But yeah, if you get a chance, I'm sorry, I should have stopped at that point. But anyway, it was just I was in the moment, and it was just intense. The show is really good though. But watch it, it's really good. It's scary though because for me, and all that to say this was just for me was just like it's like when you go to the hospital, you think they're there to look out for you. Like, they're there to take care of you. They're not there to, you think that that's a safe place for you to go to where you can be taken care of and they're not going to try to screw you over or anything like that. So in that sense, it was just like, you're now, but I've always been scared of hospitals. So even that didn't help matters much with me to be afraid of hospitals. I don't screw with hospitals, but yeah, take the time to check that out. So it's just a one thing, right? It was just like one. It was just a one series. It was just a one, like hour and a half, around 40 minutes or something like that. It's really good, though. It's called Take Care of Maya. Again, Tessa Go, I'm sure you'll check that out. And you'll probably hate me for adding another thing on your plate to watch. So, because I stack her up with all these documentaries and shows and shit. So, there was that. And then another thing, I was on a tangent, dude. I had nothing to do. I was off Father's Day after I got out of the watering hole there. I went home and sat down. Another thing I was watching was Shiny Happy People, the Duggar. You ever seen the Duggar family? You never seen the Duggar family? They were on TLC. The TLC, they're the ones that had like 18 kids, 19 kids? They had 19 kids. And holy shit, dude, they had there's a bevy of stories in that thing, man. That family, gotta watch that, dude. It's called Shiny Happy People. I think that was on Hulu, I think. It was Hulu, yeah. But if you have time, check that out. Duggar family, like I said, they were a big part of like American pop culture with the family, and they had kids upon kids, and it was just I think that was their thing, was to have, that was their purpose on the world, is to make kids, procreate is their thing, right? But that was interesting. I thought, like I said, and then the last thing I want to get into was before I want to get into the story with you, James, and I'm gonna shut the fuck up, and then I'm gonna let James talk.
That's all
right,
right,
I'm gonna let
man.
James run the mic here in a minute with this thing. I didn't know. I don't know if you've seen this, James. Sleepaway Camp. Sleepaway Camp horror movie. Okay, so Sleepaway Camp. After watching it, I never thought I would say this because Friday the 13th is one of my all-time favorite movies. Jason is like an iconic, slasher movie. He's the icon. He's the GOAT, I think, of horror movies and stuff. I love him. Hockey mask and all thing. But Sleepaway Camp, I have to say, man, like I think it's better than Friday the 13th. I said I actually enjoyed it more than Friday the 13th, and the reason why, I think it was ahead of its time, man. I think of what the things that we're seeing now in society. I think it was kind of ahead of its time. And if you have a chance, James, check it out, dude. It's called Sleepaway Camp.
Okay.
And
when was it made?
Huh?
When was that made?
82.
Okay, so it's old.
It's
been
old. Yeah,
around. Yeah.
82. I think it was 82.
Camp. Okay.
Sleepaway Camp, and like I said, when I say it's ahead of its time, you'll see what I'm talking about when it's ahead of its time. And it took me back because I had seen, excuse me, growing up, I had seen bits and pieces on HBO and just kind of flashed through, but I never really paid attention because I was like, it's just another, cheesy slasher movie. I kind of just watched bits and pieces and blew it off. But when I sat down, Jennifer said, "Hey, we're gonna sit down. You got time? We're gonna watch this thing." And I watched it. And I was like, "Holy shit! This is awesome." And it was, you would like it. You would like it because of the cheesy 80 horror thing about it. Like the cutaways are cheesy, the kills are kind of cheesy, but it's good though. It's a good thing. Like I said, I enjoyed it. But again, just so you know, it's ahead of its time. It's where we're at now, but it's ahead of its time. It's what can I say? How can I leave it at this?
Talking about like relating to like modern,
Yeah.
like our political type stuff, or like
no,
just
it's,
like
our-
society,
our-
social stuff,
Our
or?
bits and pieces.
Oh.
Yeah. But we'll get it. But you'll dig it though. Despite that, it's just a good movie. It's a good movie. It's a good classic cheesy slash movie. It's good stuff, man. Thank you. Well, we reloaded the old fashions. We're good to go now. I got a new cherry. I got a new cherry. I hope I got a new cherry. I'm gonna have to fire somebody over here. No, it was good. Good times, man. No, I was gonna tell you. We were talking earlier. I had mentioned the Elvis thing, and Jennifer, she was like, "Man, I was working on some art from Elvis artwork," and she's like, "I got to get you in the mood, man. We're gonna put on, what was it, Blue Hawaii?" So we put on Blue Hawaii, and then I had never seen it. Of course, I had never seen it before because I'm trying to catch up on all these movies that I've missed. So I'm watching Blue Hawaii, and then Elvis is he's trying to get have you seen Blue Hawaii? He's in.
Yeah, I'm sure I have. I've seen a ton.
So his family, he goes to Hawaii. He lives in Hawaii, or he doesn't live in Hawaii, right? They do.
Either does or doesn't.
Yeah, and then they have a
one or the
banana
other.
thing. Or is it
Definitely
banana?
one of them.
Pineapples, right? It's called Southern. What is it called? Southern. I don't know. They have a pineapple company.
Here, don't run the end though.
No, I won't ruin the end. I won't ruin it, man. So they got a pineapple company. Yeah, Elvis. Yeah, I think that's kind of a. That's kind of a thing. But anyway, so Blue Hawaii. So I'm watching it and I'm loving it, dude. I like the thing. I love the movie. Songs are great. They're fantastic, man. He does was it Fools Rush In? Yeah, that's a great song. Anyway, and then I'm watching. There's a little side character in there, and I said, I know that son of a bitch from somewhere. And I watch a lot of Mayberry, Andy Griffith.
Yeah.
And it's the barber. What's his name? What's the barber's name? The barber. Anyway, he's in the movie. What? Oh, no, you can't Google it. No, it's all right. Google.
We live out in the sticks.
No, it's okay.
Internet.
Yeah, it's but the barber. God dang, I can't remember his name. Anyway, he was in there, and this is funny because I was telling Jennifer. I said, I think I was drawing because I was drawing and painting, and Jennifer. I heard the voice. I was like, Jennifer. I said, before I look up, does that guy have a mustache and he has glasses? I said, it's not Otis. It's not Otis. It's not his name. Anyway, he's the barber from Mayberry. And I said, between his voice and the way he was acting, she goes, how do you know? I said, the reason why I know is because he's doing the same character. Like, he's the same character. He's got typecast. He's doing that nervousness and weirdness, and it was just funny. But that's what I liked about TV back in the day. You were typecast. They didn't give a shit. I'll stay typecast. I don't give a shit. So, but yeah, Elvis thing. Where was I going with it? I was going somewhere where I lost it, dude. Lloyd? Oh, Floyd. Yeah. Floyd. He did he cut everybody's hair in Mayberry there.
That's what barbers do.
Yeah, that's what they usually do, or shave or something like that. But yeah, it led to Don Knotts. We're talking about Don Knotts on the break there. We're talking about Don Knotts. I love him. Yeah. He was a great side character.
Shakiest
I
gun
love
in the
him,
West
dude.
or whatever.
What was it? Was that the Apple Dumpling Gang? That was good. I used to love that movie. Him and Harvey Korman? No. I can't remember his name. Jesus. It was too old. Another old comedian from Carol Burnett Show. And him and Don Knotts, they did it called the Apple Dumpling Gang. Right? Is that what they were called, Jennifer? Yeah. I know you're pretty caught up on these things, on these current events here. And by I mean current events, I mean, yeah. But anyway, so Don Knotts, man, I love him. And then since we're on the vintage thing and we're kind of on the Elvis thing, because he had just gotten back from war, right? Was it World War II? Elvis? In the movie. No, in the movie. The Blue Hawaii. I think he had to go back from war or something like that. He said, I didn't go to war. I was just over there. And he goes, well, you got medals? He goes, they're just...
Yeah, it wasn't World War II.
They were...
World War II was early 40s.
I forget what war he was at. It's 60s, right? Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. I'm old fashions, man. They're catching up now.
Yeah.
But that leads me to the thing, and in all seriousness, to be serious and not to be serious, but try not to be serious.
To be or not to.
Either way. James, you came to me the other day. We were talking the other day. You stopped by and you said, man, I got a cool story to tell you about. And I'll let you, because I asked you about, I don't want to bring up your work, but we were talking about work and whatnot, and you were telling me about you were stuck somewhere down in a shitty location. But then you kind of told me that it was kind of a...
Yeah, I always got to look for that silver
right
lining,
side. Yeah, the silver lining.
Any situation.
And I'll let you.
you're in,
I'll shut the hell up, and I'll let you tell the story about what you were telling me there about what you came across here.
Yeah. As you know, I'm a treasure hunter. I'm always looking for any kind of cool old stuff. So I do old toys, anything old. So I was out of town for work or whatever, and just thumbing through Facebook looking for stuff for sale or whatever, and there was a guy just said he had old stuff.
Sure.
Just a bunch of old junk for sale, and I'm like, well, let me go check it out.
Yeah.
So get there, I don't want to get too deep into the story. It was a long day. It was hot. I'm digging through junk all day and didn't really find much. But at the end, there was a few things I found, and I was like, hey, if you got maybe I can buy a duffel bag or something from you. You got something like that laying around? He's like, man, I think I do. And he goes into this shed and moves some stuff, and I didn't realize this stuff could move out of the way. And there's a shelf behind it. And as soon as he moves the stuff out of the way, I see old military trunk.
Shit.
He opens it up, reaches in, starts to pull something out, and he goes, oh, no, it's just a jacket. Shoves it back in, starts to close it up, and I'm like, whoa, hold on. He was like, no, it's not a duffel bag, it's a jacket. I'm like, well, I want to see the jacket. I go open it up. It's a World War II, military trunk. Open it up. And the guy had been in the Navy, and he was on a submarine, served on a submarine during World War II. And this was just an absolute time capsule. So I open it up. Man, it's got his dog tags, his uniforms.
That's amazing. That's cool.
His dress uniforms, but then also his work shirts. It's got a couple of N1 jackets in there, and y'all got pictures I'm sure y'all can show for people that are watching
we'll
it,
put it on
on
post,
video
yeah.
or whatever. But the jackets, he's got like the logos for their submarine painted on the back of the jackets. There's 2 of them in there. I mean, it's just
When you showed me that, I was like, this ain't real, man. Like, this is it's crazy that you just happened to stumble upon this, and that's the beauty of it, man. That the stuff you come across just blows me away. Like when you said that, I was like, like I said, for me, when I told you this, it's like it's just weird that somebody put that away. I mean, I don't know if they did that intentionally or anything. It just could have just happened accidentally. But to put that away and that's just that big part of history is just put away in a garage or a closet. Or it's just weird, man. There's no, like I said when I was telling you earlier, there's no way you could pry that out of my hands if that was my uncle's or my grandpa's. There was no way you could take that out of my hands because that's a part of history.
yeah.
Man.
And you wouldn't believe the stuff I've bought that people are just getting rid of, and yeah, it is their grandpa's or whatever, and they just don't have the interest in the history. I mean, to me, it's not even fathomable.
Yeah.
It's just so unbelievable that they don't care or want it. But like I said, this thing, it was like he opened it, closed it up after the war and just tucked it away, and there it was. And I mean, there was, I told you one of my favorite things I found in there was just an unopened pack of Lucky Strike cigarettes, but it was a pack that was only available to the military members during the late 30s, early 40s, during that World War II era. And I've got my cigarette machine, and I've been looking for that particular pack
That's nuts,
for my display for
to complete, huh? To complete
over probably a decade. I've been looking for that pack of cigarettes, and of course, we've talked about this. You can get on eBay and find just about anything, but that's no fun.
No.
That's no fun. You got no story
want
for it.
that.
Oh, where'd you find that? Oh, I clicked a button.
Yeah. Who gives a shit?
I want to go dig around, get sweaty, cut up.
Yeah.
Tetanus, whatever. To come out with something and go, look what I found. That's the amazing part.
The thing you told me that was the most intriguing part is like you said he had like a little journal he had in there too as well.
Yeah, he's got journals in there. So it looks like he was maybe like an engineer or some type of he machinist or something on the I'm not real savvy on what the different positions were, but the guy he had something to do with the integral working parts of the submarine. So he had all the capacities for, all the different tanks and the weights of everything. And just all the stats written down for all this stuff. And the submarine he served on was called SS Pompon. Pompon.
That was a big part of war. That was a big part of history.
And that submarine went on, I think, 9 different war missions. It sunk multiple different ships. It took on damage. And had to limp away, under,
Dude,
and this guy, there was stuff in there from that whole stretch, for I think this submarine went into service in 41 or 42, something like that, and then through the end of World War II. And he was, this guy, there was stuff on there that kind of showed that he was on there through that whole period of time. So for all these missions, here this guy was, and just to think about being in that, a submarine just locked in there, and you're out in the middle of the ocean, you're fighting, and there's nowhere to go.
No.
There's if something
Can't
happens, you're done.
Can't run.
There's this guy, there's a story to tell there.
Oh yeah.
And I love that. I just get, I go down the rabbit hole. I start reading and researching, and it's like this is what this guy did.
The thing that always gets me is when you show me these things. You always show me all this cool history things, but the thing that always gets me is their clothes.
Yeah,
they're this big. It's like he was a small or a medium. It's weird that these guys were that little. It's just all these hormones they pump us up with, and these cows now. When we're all massive, man, we're all huge people now.
Yeah, and these guys were badasses, and they were probably like 120 pounds.
120 pounds, man.
And I wouldn't mess with them.
Oh, I wouldn't either, man. They won wars, man.
Yeah.
The other thing too is like in Galveston too. When you go down to Galveston, you see the staircases and the doorways. They're all like tiny, man. It's just like, damn, man. People were just small, man.
Yeah.
And the cars, of course, like the cars that like my father-in-law works on. All these old cars. The driver's seat is, you get a passenger and a driver, and it's the seats. It's this big. It's tiny, man. It's insane how little we were. But when you told me that story, I was just like, man, I got to see this. I got to see. That's why we wanted to come over, because I wanted to see the was it called footlocker?
Yeah,
Footlocker, and the jackets and the sweater that he wore, and it's cool to touch those things because like that guy wore that. Like he was wearing that.
that was
like,
there.
He wore that.
Yeah.
Like he was wearing that.
You read about those missions, and these clothes
were there. Yeah.
this was there. This was on that submarine
while
that was happening. That, I mean, I love finding old stuff, but a lot of times you just find the item and you don't know the history. You know there is history. You're like, man, this is cool. This has been around for a while. There's got to be history, but you don't know it. But when you find something like that, to where everything's there that you need, all the provenance that you need to do like a deep dive and see, this is where this is who owned it. This is what they did. This is where they were. And it's a historic event like that. It's just,
I love that.
Man, it's amazing.
Like when you told me that, I was just like, holy shit! Like you told me that story, and then you told me you brought me at the same, I think, kind of the same day or the next day, you brought me the little food fighter toys, and like it's like, yeah, the food fighter toys, they were cool, and that was grateful for those, and that was cool. But that was just that still was like went home, and after you told me, I went home and told Jennifer about it, and she was just like, because I like the war stuff, and she was just like, but I was just like, I was like enthralled, and I was just taken aback just to see somebody's clothing, man. Yeah. It's here, it's in your house now. Like the clothing that guy wore is in your house now, and it's cool, and it's like, so you got takers on that one or what?
Yeah, it's probably some things I have room to display, and I admit I'm a little bit of a hoarder. But certain things, I would feel bad just to get them, and then, it's been hidden away for 80 whatever years, and for me to get it and just close it back up in a box and stick it in storage because I don't have a way to display that, it deserves to be appreciated by somebody.
Sure.
So I think I've got a collection that it's going to, and hopefully they're going to keep it together and actually be able to display it.
That's so cool, man.
And let some people see that, and people that are really in that world and really will appreciate it. And as much as I hate to, of course, I pulled out a couple of pieces that I was like, all right, this is, of course, my cigarettes. And
the cigarettes.
There was a few other things that I pulled out, and the guy was like, yeah, I'm okay. I'll take the other, without those items. Yeah. But there were just certain things that meant a little more to me, and that I was like, well, this is small. I can do something with this. I can display it or whatever. But the bulk of it, I mean, when you got jackets and uniforms, you need a whole wall just to display that grouping of stuff. Yeah. There's like the full navy blues or whatever they call them with the huge bell-bottom pants, man. And all the sailor uniforms that
That's the best,
it's they're really cool. The iconic pictures of the sailors wearing that stuff. And
it was funny. I was, not to cut you off on that, but there was just Dylan. We were watching some program, war program. Some kind of thing on History Channel, and we came across that picture of the soldier kissing the nurse.
Oh yeah.
And I said now people shit on that picture. People say, well, did he get her was it permission? Did he ask? I said, dude, he wasn't back then. It wasn't about that, man. Back then it was about you were lucky to be alive. Like this guy just saved your life. So the nurse wasn't thinking about, well, asking my permission first. Like she knows that this guy went and put his life on the line for her, so she didn't give a shit about permission and all that. It's just weird how life works, and
I don't know the story behind that picture. I always assumed it was an actual couple or whatever.
Yeah, it was just a soldier, a sailor. It was a sailor, right? He's walking, and then he just so happened to grab this nurse,
showing her appreciation.
Yeah, and they just gave her a kiss, and it was just I guess like now. Just a gesture, a handshake or a hug, and it was just like it was taken, And now they talk about that photo now, and it's just ridiculous, man. That we nitpick shit like that.
We've gone far.
We've gone too far. I think we went around.
People go around looking for something to be offended by. A picture that was taken 80-something years ago.
I know, man. It was just it's a part of history, man. But he didn't know that, and I wasn't trying to tell him that, but it was just like he wanted to know the history by that. And I said, then now that's kind of frowned upon, and it's just shitty that can't be, just can't be a classic moment. Now it's got to be torn apart and picked apart and shit, and that kind of stuff upsets me. But that's where we're at now. But it's okay. I'm okay with that. But that was a really cool story, man. I wanted you to be able to, like I said, we're going to share all the pictures of this, and we're going to take more pictures here and get all those on there. And that was great. And then the other thing was, what was the other thing I was going to ask you about? Shit. There was something else you showed me.
Maybe the Astroworld stuff. You saw that stuff, didn't you?
I think so. think so. What was it from? Was it the?
So I found some stuff that belonged to a guy that worked at Astro World back in the 70s. And so Astro World apparently had their own baseball team, back then. I don't know how long that kept up, but they would do like their corporate games. And so there's just kind of like a jersey style shirt that says Astro World Maintenance on it. So I'm assuming that like each department had their own little team that played against each other. And then there's like a full uniform for Astro World. And, I posted on a group that, people that used to work at Astro World back in the day, and most of them really didn't know. I guess the best explanation was that this was probably, I guess, after they would play against each other. Well, the all-stars from each, department would come together and form one baseball team to represent Astro World itself, and then they would play against Six Flags. So, so there was actually, when they were playing local just against each other, they didn't have like a uniform. They just played in whatever. And then I guess when they met up to actually play Astro World versus Six Flags, they'd have a full uniform. So I've got the, uniform is Astro World across the back, and then I've got one of his jackets that's got the big Astro World patch on it. And,
dude, that is so cool. I wonder if Fiesta Texas got involved in that. Fiesta Texas.
I don't know when they opened.
I know it was like probably late 90s or something like that. 96. I don't know.
Because this was like from the 70s.
Dude, that's
now,
so cool,
now I
man.
don't know how long they did it.
That is so cool. So do you have that jersey? It was a
Yeah,
jersey?
I can. Yeah,
Okay.
I'll
We'll take
let y'all get
pictures.
some
Yeah, we'll
pictures
take
of it. I'll
pictures of
show it.
that.
And then
That's
there's
cool
I
shit,
think the map. There's one of the park maps, which every year that changed.
I used
like
to love
every
that.
year.
Dude.
So
That's when I went to Astro World when I was a kid. I went there, and that was my favorite thing, to get the map.
Yeah.
And to see, I always love how they did those maps. They overdid them. Like they was always dramatic with like, this is where Bugs Bunny's at, and it's all massive. It was just I love the way they over.
Yeah, I think this map's from 77 maybe or something like that. But yeah, I mean, it's just cool, man, and it's got that look.
I love that look, man. Because everything back then was, the thing I liked about everything was drawn up. It was drawn. It wasn't.
Yeah.
Now it's like it's just printed out and shit. Before it was like hand drawn, or it was like movie theater posters, just like the Mrs. Bean, the Sunbeam thing. Like that was a piece of art. That was a painting. The little girl, she was a painting. It wasn't, back in the day. The advertisements.
I forgot to show this to you earlier, and we'll show it, and y'all can get pictures if you want. But like the Sunbeam girl there. So the artist that came up with the Sunbeam girl, her name was Ellen Segner. Okay. And I actually have a couple of her original paintings of the Sunbeam girl that were used to do advertisements. Come on, they're in the stairwell there, so we'll. Come on. If y'all remind us later,
I want to
watch.
Get
some pictures. But yeah, I've got two of the paintings that came from her estate, and then one of them I've got like a copy of the advertisement that was made from that painting. But yeah, they're. But
that's what I'm saying. Like I love that stuff. Like now it's just it's graphic design, it's digital or whatever now. But that was cool because it was like they used an actual painting like that, and like the old movie posters, like Casablanca. Some of those are just actual paintings or drawings or whatever. They're not. It's not a graphic, and that's what they don't. That's what I miss of advertisement, like marketing and shit. I miss that. That's what when I was a kid, I always wanted to go into marketing because they actually used art back then. Now it's just digital. If you ever, I'm sure you've seen it. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Oh yeah.
Like Steve Martin, like watching him in that movie, that's what always wanted me to be a big shot marketing guy, to work in a big, tall skyscraper building in Chicago or New York, wherever he was at, in Chicago, and doing marketing. Like that's what I was always my dream, was to do that stuff. But
that's a coincidence, because watching that movie is what made me want to grow up and sell shower curtain rings.
Did you get the ones with the helium? The very light. No, it was I love that movie, dude. That's our holiday. That's our holiday movie, man. Thanksgiving, that's what we do. We sit down, we eat a shit ton of turkey. We sit down, we watch those movies over and over again, because that's our traditions that we're going with our son. That's the traditions we're doing. It's just like watching those movies. Christmas time, of course. Christmas stories. You have to do Christmas Story on Christmas Eve. We watch it all night.
What movie was that guy just in? We just watched a movie the other day, and it had the
Christmas Ralphie
the kid. Yeah,
Ralphie. Was it Elf? Elf Scott. He's an elf. He's one of the main elves in Elf.
I can't remember now what it was, but yeah, I'm watching it, and of course he's a grown man now, but
he looks like Ralphie still.
Man, as soon as he actually made direct contact, like looked into the camera, I was like, oh my god, that's
The breakup. Oh, The Breakup, and then he's also in the new they not redid it, but the Christmas Story, they did like a part 2, I guess. Like
I hadn't seen that yet,
so
don't ruin it for me.
No, I won't ruin it. I wanted to.
Don't tell me somebody dies.
No, I won't ruin it. But if you like the original, you'll like this one too. Because I thought I was like, they're gonna shitty remake. But it's like him as an adult. I think it takes place in like the 70s, right? Like, cause it's the 70s and he's
So is he actually in it playing himself?
Yeah, it's himself. Yeah,
okay,
it's
that's
him.
awesome.
It's Ralphie, and then it shows his brother. It's actually the real Ralphie and the actual real Randy, his brother.
Okay.
They all come back, but it's just, huh? Oh yeah, all his friends are there.
They got the bully.
Yeah. Scott Furcus is there. He's a police officer. Yeah, so it's really cool. You'll dig it, man. But the story is really nice, and the way it ends and the way it's tied up, it's priceless, man. It's
Cool,
good. It's
cool.
a good. It's
Yeah,
a good. It's a
'cause
good
lot of
tearjerker. It's
A lot of the stuff they're trying to bring back nowadays is not
I'm not
not
okay with
good.
it.
You know, I watch it for the nostalgia, but then
Yeah.
I watch it and I feel dirty when it's over. I'm just like, man,
I always
that
feel
was
dirty.
horrible. That was like the Ghostbusters with the women, and I
ladies.
love, man, those are fantastic people that are in that. I mean, those women are hilarious.
Oh yeah,
And that movie was
and then
horrible.
And then they made a Ghostbusters again with Paul Rudd and the
Right.
girl from the boy from Stranger
Yeah,
Things.
yeah.
And
that was better.
Okay, I
they
haven't
brought
seen it.
back a lot of the nostalgia.
I haven't seen that one, but I wanna
okay,
see
well,
it.
let me
I
run
haven't-
that for you. Let me
It
tell you
ruined it.
exactly.
This Paul Rudd died.
So instead of somebody dying, they brought somebody back.
Okay. Yeah, Dan Aykroyd, or what's the guy?
Yeah.
Dan
Oh
Aykroyd.
man, I can't remember his real name, but it was amazing. So, I mean, if I had never seen the originals and didn't love them so much and just saw that movie, I don't know if I would think it was amazing. But just from the nostalgic standpoint, the stuff they brought back and what they did, it's resurrected it after the flop. It really.
After I was listening to, I was watching it was a podcast, of course, with Dan Aykroyd, and he was saying that the Ghostbusters, he wrote the Ghostbusters, and it was his, I think it was his aunt or his mom. They were into paranormal activity, so they kind of went off of that. So it was just him. And dude, you wouldn't know to think of it, but Dan Aykroyd, man, he's off the reservation, man. Like, he's out there. Dan Aykroyd, yeah. Like, he has his own, I think his own tequila. I think it is its own tequila. I think it is. And he goes, yeah, we when we're distilling the tequila, we do it over crystals, so it's purified. And it's like, dude, he's out there, dude. Like, he's a nutcase. I love him. Huh? It's a skull bottle, yeah, tequila. I think it's tequila into the skull. It's a really cool marketing thing. It's really cool. But when he was explaining how they do it, he's like, it's over crystals and all this shit. I was like, holy shit, dude.
That stuff sounds really weird. And I went one time there. They were doing like this beer event, but was with this girl that had all these stones and crystals and stuff, and talking about how it would change the properties of things just to hold
shit.
that, and maybe it's all in your head or what. But I mean, I wouldn't think it would be in my head because I didn't think. I went because there's beer. I'm like, oh, it's a beer drinking event. I'll hold a rock while I drink a beer.
Why not?
I don't care.
Hell yeah.
So yeah, you go and she's like, okay, try this one, and you hold that. And you take a drink of the beer. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, that's great. And then they put a different crystal in your hand, and it would change. So I don't know, man. There's
shit. So you
there's
bought
weird
into
stuff. I don't know. I don't know.
We lost.
There's just some.
We lost James, man. We lost him, man. We lost him to the dark side there, man. No. Yeah, that's an awesome bottle. Yeah,
that bottle looks like something
Skull.
Indiana Jones.
Yeah, it's cool.
Hunt
There's a new Indiana Jones. There's a new one out. I haven't seen it yet.
Man,
I follow on wanted me to go with him.
How old is he now?
Oh, I think he's 70 something, dude. I know he's up there. He's close to 80. I know he's close to 80.
Because the last one,
Harrison Ford,
what was it, Shia LaBeouf or
Yeah,
is that?
yeah,
I don't know if I'm
Shia
pronouncing
LaBeouf,
it.
Shia LaBeouf,
I thought that was him passing the torch.
Nah,
and
he
then
took that torch back, man.
He was like, "Nah, you don't deserve it."
Shia LaBeouf lost his mind. 80. Oh, he's 80. Holy shit, dude. He's 80. Okay.
He's out
and then they also brought the kid. I think he came back, right? Round Eye or Round Top, or what's he called? Round Top. What's his name? The Asian kid from the Goonies. I think he came back with him. Short Round. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Round Top. Yeah. Round Top. Yeah. Right. I'm gonna get in trouble. Canceled. I'm gonna get canceled for that one, dude. Yikes. Anyway, but yeah, I think he comes back. I think he. If I'm not mistaken, he comes back. So, yeah, that's gonna be a tough one to let down. I got to let that one down. That was rough. But yeah, it's the old fashions. The old fashions coming out of me, dude. And I got to be careful because the Archie Bunker's coming out. Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
But no, man. I thought he was in the new one. Okay.
He was in some new movie because he won.
It was. Damn it. what's that movie called? Because he got the Oscar,
Yeah,
right?
he just
got the Oscar.
got some kind
Yeah, he
of
got
award
the
or
Oscar.
something.
Yeah. So yeah, that was great. The footlocker thing was fantastic, dude. I'm trying to
Yeah,
trying to get off.
Trying to
Trying to get off,
steer the
trying to get
car
off,
back
man.
onto
Trying to
the
get off.
road there.
Because that's gonna cost. That's gonna cost there. If the ones that are listening it's gonna cost. Yeah, man. So a lot of TV. I've been watching a lot of TV, man. Trying to get off of it. But yeah, TV.
Yeah. One day your podcast is going to be huge.
Yeah.
You're going to have a blooper
I hope
reel.
so. We hope so,
Yeah,
man. Wanted to get into this thing, dude. This is a terrible segue, but it's just why not? You know, we're already on a shit path here. Yeah, I don't know if you guys seen the story, man. It's an old story. I mean, by the time this comes out, the horse will be kicked and dead by the time this comes out. But I was really cool to see this thing happen. Like I said, it was in Chicago. This lady was ordering food at a local restaurant called Maxwell's Street Express, and it's apparently it's a hopping place. It's got great food and whatnot. And they were there. It was about 11 p.m. I think it was 11 p.m. at night, and she goes in there and she orders some food. Right, she's ordering food, and there's a gentleman. He's kind of an irate gentleman that's in there, and he starts. They're going back and forth, arguing. He's telling her, telling her to shut the hell up and whatnot, and expletives and whatnot. And then he tells her, "I'm going to punch you." So he starts punching this woman. But little did he know, he didn't know that her 14-year-old son was standing in the doorway, and the son goes to start shooting on this guy. Man, he shoots at this guy, kills him. Basically, he does kill him. Guy gets killed. They leave the scene, and they go to jail. Of course, they get taken into jail and whatnot. And then I think a couple of days go by, but the whole point of this whole story was, people say, a lot of people come to me and they say, social media, it's a waste of time. Why do you do social media? It's a waste of time. Who cares? Who gives a shit? But because of social media, this mother and son, they got off. They're not going to jail. They got off. They got acquitted of all the charges because they saw that it wasn't, he wasn't doing it in a, what do you call it? Where he was premeditated. It happened in the moment. He was trying to protect his mom because he thought his mom was going to get killed. So he's protecting his mom. So he shot this guy and he kills this guy. And so because of social media, there was so many posts out there, so many people posting it, and it got so many views. It got back to the the official, the police,
politicians.
That too.
Well, let's be honest.
Yeah.
It's who's really. It's not the police. It's the prosecutors, elected officials.
Right. And so they got off. They got off, and so now they're free now. But it's, for me, I guess what it is, and to if you think that's right or wrong, whatever, that they got off, it's for me. It's that it's for me. It's that I'm tired of this new society where you can get away with everything. Get away with anything.
There's got to be consequences.
Yes, I'm tired of it, dude. It's like where I work at, the watering hole I work at. It's like you're working and you have to be careful, because if you're slightly rude in the slightest way, you're gonna get a shit review. Or they're gonna say this guy was rude as hell to me, or he was terrible, and it's just a social media
asshole.
Yeah, well, sometimes I know, but yes, sometimes.
No, I was talking about them.
No, yeah, I got you. Yeah,
but
it's where people have gotten too carefree, where they think I can just do whatever the hell I want, and you can't do nothing to me, because if you do, I'll put a bad review or whatever the case may be. But even that, but so it was kind of it was kind of interesting to see that they got off on it. They got off on the charge, man, because it's just like that usually doesn't happen. It's just like,
yeah, and I normally skip those videos.
Yeah.
There's just certain things I'm like, I don't even want to see it. I'm not one of these, they call them rubberneckers, where they pass by something.
Yeah.
I got to look and see what's going on. But, sometimes you see stuff and you're like, well, I want to see, what is that about? I watched the video portion. I was like, hell yeah, that guy got what he deserved. Sure. And he did.
Sure.
And I'm like, yeah, it was clear cut. The kid was defending his mom. Now, we won't go into why a 14-year-old kid was carrying, but that's not the important part there. The important part is his mother was being assaulted, and he took care of it.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, it looks great.
Yeah.
And then I start reading the story. Now, I don't know, you never know if what you're reading is factual or not.
Sure.
So everything I read, it's like with a grain of salt. My understanding was, he shot the guy. The guy runs, makes it out to the street, and maybe is even just falls down, and they follow him out there, and then the kid finishes him off as he's laying there or whatever. So, it's there's
Yeah,
some
yeah.
lines there.
Yeah,
it's,
yeah.
it's
Yeah. No,
so there, there's a lot. Of course, there always is. There's always more to the story. And like I said,
Sure.
do we ever really get the full story? Do we ever really
Right.
get the facts? We don't know.
No.
We're reading, what somebody decided to wrote,
Right.
to write down, and that's all we can go off of. We weren't there.
And then my other thing is too is just again like, so that I heard some of that, but then also the other thing I heard too that what I read on was like that guy was in his first time. I don't know what his name was, the guy that got killed, but I also read too that he was in his first time attacking women
Right.
or abusing women, and it's just like, hey, dude, like kind of.
Some people it's
time
you're
to-
not feeling like a sense of loss.
Yeah. And it's not that I'm being cold-hearted or dick. It's
right.
just it's like, dude, like you can only do this shit so many times where people are eventually going to meet.
People are
Your
tired
maker.
of being
getting
victimized.
bullied and shit.
You
And
can't
that's
just
the
go
whole
around
thing.
victimizing people.
Yeah, man. It's just that thing where I always say that the bully thing is like people are gonna get tired of that shit one day, and then it's just like it's kind of a stretch, but I don't want to go that. I don't want to get canceled again twice in one episode. But
Twice in one episode.
I was thinking about like just like it's. But anyway, I just like I said, I saw that story and it caught my attention, not because like I said again, like you, I don't like to look for those things out, because it's like those things are always two-sided. Just like one of the big ones that was massive, dude, was like the Trayvon Martin and the
Right.
Trayvon, like that one was like, dude, I read it. I read a ton of things about it, dude, and it was just like, I think both of them were kind of met kind of bulls, man, because they were just like he was a overzealous security guard, and then I don't know. The kid was kind of. I think they were all both in the wrong. For me, I feel like they were both. In my opinion, I feel like they were both in the wrong, and it's shitty that would happen. But
yeah, I don't know. A lot of the stuff I just look at, I'm like, you know what? I don't have enough details.
Yeah, sure.
Of course, a lot of people, things go to court, and people they agree or disagree, but to be honest, none of us have the information that those juries had or whatever.
For sure.
We've got whatever's in the media, and that's all we have to go off of. And it's always sad to see somebody lose their life.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Regardless,
It's
I'd rather see everybody go on and be successful and contribute to society and just be good folks. But there's people out there that are bullies and hurting people, and even when you're in high school and there's the bully that beats up on everybody, and then one day somebody turns around and pops him.
Oh yeah,
you're like, yeah,
good.
Now obviously that's an extreme. Somebody lost their life.
Oh,
the bully
sure,
in that case lost their life, and that sucks.
Yeah, no,
I'm
not applauding that guy got killed, but I'm just saying, just at some point you got to know, like, eventually you're gonna meet somebody that's gonna meet you head on, man. You're shopping for if you're looking for that's gonna happen to you, man. It's like I don't wish that upon anybody, but that story really caught my attention. It's just like it's weird that they had dropped those charges. You never see that happen. It's just weird. It was just a weird story. I know. It just caught my eye. It just really caught my eye. To kind of go on, since we're talking about, it's gonna be a shitty segue, but to segue off of this is we're talking about a restaurant. If you haven't seen it yet, Hulu, it's got my attention with The Bear. Watch The Bear. If you haven't seen The Bear, check out The Bear. Awesome show. I like the way it's the way it's shot, the footage, the way it looks, the look of it. The Bear. Yeah,
Oh,
The Bear.
just The Bear.
The Bear. Yeah.
Not Cocaine Bear.
No, not the Cocaine Bear, dude. That was a big hit apparently.
Have you seen it?
No, I haven't seen it.
It was a guilty pleasure.
Okay,
because it wasn't a great movie,
But
but
it was a guilty pleasure.
I still enjoyed watching it for some reason. I don't know why. Yeah. I can't say it was because of great writing or great acting or
compelling.
Anything.
Yeah.
Of course, I went down the rabbit hole looking into the true story that inspired it.
True story?
Well, it's kind of like Chainsaw Massacre was inspired by actual events. Well, yeah, it was.
Because the Chainsaw Massacre,
the
Chainsaw Massacre is amazing. Like the movie is cool, but then it's like when you hear the real thing of it Gacy, right?
No, that was Ed Gein.
Ed Gein,
yeah.
right? The skin.
Yeah, he also same guy that inspired Silence of the Lambs, the Wild Bill character, and Psycho.
Sure.
All three of those characters. So the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Psycho, and Wild. It was Wild Bill. Is that what he's called on Silence of the Lambs?
Was it
Lambs?
Silence of the Butterfly with? Butterfly was it? Well, I thought you were talking about the Silence of the Lambs.
It puts the lotion on its skin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of the Lambs
but anyway, all three of those characters were based on the same true story guy.
Sure.
Who, wasn't He was just a weirdo,
Yeah,
man.
he's
He
a
was
nut job.
mainly a grave robber.
Yeah.
You know, making lamps and chairs and.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah,
Skin
I think he
belts.
did kill some people, but he
Sure.
wasn't like a prolific serial killer. But when they found him, he did have like a
Oh
a
shit.
body hanging in there. That
Speaking of bodies, I'm glad you said it. I kind of snapped something. Jeez, I'm a fucking nut job here. If you haven't seen it, was it Catching Killers? It's another series on Netflix.
I think I have.
Okay. The new episode, the new season's out, and they have a new season. And the first one on the first one that caught my attention was Resendiz, the railroad killer.
Okay.
What's his name? Resendez. Resendez. No, I know, but dude, that guy, I was a kid. I wasn't a kid. I was a. Oh shit! That was in my 20s, I think. When this happened, he was in. Because I heard about one of the killings in West University area of Houston, the West University area, and he was on the railroad, the trains, and he was one of the creepiest ones, man, because you couldn't catch him, man. I mean, you couldn't because he didn't have a car, he didn't have an identity. He was just hopping off the train and taking people out. But yeah. To Catch a Killer, dude. Check that out if you get a chance. They got some good ones on there. That one, he's one of the first ones. And then there's, what was the other? There was another one on there that was pretty good. Oh, shit. Can't remember the other one. Oh, the BTK, yeah.
Yeah.
He was, yeah, I mean.
Yeah, that guy was. He got away.
Yeah. For
And
a
then
long ass time, dude.
Well, yeah, he got away. No, he got away.
Yeah.
He did it all. He got away. No chance they were going to catch him. It was a done deal.
Yeah.
And then he's just like, you know what? Let me write one more letter.
Yeah, dude. It was on a floppy disk, on a disc, yeah, on a drive thing. But it was, I love law enforcement. I love that. But that guy kind of gave himself up. They were having hell to find. They couldn't find him, man.
man.
Like it was impossible to find that guy, man. But he kind of threw in the towel,
Well, he committed most of his crimes back. Technology was totally different.
Right.
If they had today's technology then, but don't know what the new technology is going to be in 10,
Sure,
50.
yeah.
So you don't even know what evidence to collect because it's like, what DNA, it's not like, oh, they should have collected it
Yeah.
to test later. They didn't
Shit,
know
they
what it
didn't know.
was.
Had no clue. Yeah, no, I get it.
So yeah, but he, and then he waits all those years, and now that all the technology is there, and then he decides, hey, you know what?
Pop out.
I hadn't got any attention in a while.
I know. I'm afraid of that because I like the attention, so I'm kind of same borderline there with him. But no, it was cool how he popped out of nowhere and came back out, and looking at him, he looked just like somebody's grandpa. Like he just looked like a regular cat, man. He's a regular guy. It's just
Those
weird.
eyes,
Yeah. Oh, he was creepy. And then we were watching the.
that porn stash.
Yeah, we were watching the. They were showing from when was it the room the room where they show him the interrogation room, Jesus, and. Dude, he was just like charismatic, just having a good old time. Man.
I guess he probably wanted to get shot.
I'm sure.
To get caught,
But it's just he just had a way about him, man. It was just like this guy's just fun-loving, good guy. Let him be,
Yeah.
Just let him be.
Well, those guys, they're some in their psychology.
Mm-hmm.
They want that attention, and as long as he's still living, he can see the attention. It doesn't have to be him. But at some point, he probably was just like, he wants the credit. He knows he's only got so many years left. I want the credit. It's not enough just to see, hey, BTK. That's his character that he played, but he wants credit.
I don't blame him, dude. He put a lot of work into that shit, man. I mean, it's a lot of work. Shitty work. I mean, he was terrible, but
Yeah, I mean, you can't help but be. It's horrible to be entertained by that stuff, but I mean, it's.
No, I know.
It's just. The psychology and everything has always been amusing. It's like what turns people into that. What does it take to get somebody to that point? And I don't know that you could ever know.
That's what gets us all the time. Me and Jennifer is just we're always just fascinated, not because of what they did. It's fascinating because how's that mind work? Dude?
Yeah,
It's just
it's
like,
totally different.
It's weird. It's just like how is that person built? Like it's just.
The normal person, I don't think, could understand.
No.
You try, but you just can't.
No.
I'm an empath, so to me, to even imagine putting people through, or hurting people and watching, I can't even imagine that. You just can't even picture like how can a person do that. But those people don't have that. They don't have that capability. It's a totally different personality. they don't care,
Yeah.
about anybody but themselves. It's all about them and their, desire or whatever it is.
No.
So
The scary thing was that something that Jennifer showed me. The scary thing was who was it? Kennedy. What was her name? Rosemary Kennedy. She was showing me this thing. I was watching this thing, and she was showing me this little video, and it was Rosemary Kennedy, and she was a beautiful woman when she was young, beautiful, just looking good and stuff, beautiful. And then they showed her after she had a lobotomy, and dude, it was a mess, dude. It's just like she wasn't even her same. It's like the face changes, like the personality changes. the whole person,
it's magic.
Yeah.
Movie magic.
And it'll come back, and it'll come
glass
back.
is just gonna reappear here.
But that was just, it's weird how shit changes, man. We don't do those things anymore, lobotomies, and that's correct. We don't do lobotomies anymore, and I wish we did. I'd love to have one. I'd love to try see what happens, see if it changes my personality up a little bit. James, man, this has been a good time, man. I've had a blast at your house, man. Thank you for inviting us over, man. It's been a really good time, man. We had a blast. Where's I know that this, I know when this comes out, it's gonna be a while, days later, but I know you guys set it up. You guys were in the heat recently with decades fashion and finds.
Yesterday,
killing it.
Real time.
Yeah.
We were set up at a big event downtown. At a grand opening.
Yeah, burning
it.
Kofe, how's it, Angel? Kofe. Go ahead.
Kofe Numpang.
Kofe Numpan. Yeah, and then thank you, son, for the hat. Appreciate you, brother, for stopping by. Yeah, good guy,
so,
man.
we set up their, big grand opening or whatever for their new place, which is great. And we were out there we got there at, I don't know, 7:30. We were there till. Yeah, we were supposed to close at 8, but at 8 we were swamped. I mean, we just had people coming, and we're not going to cut them off. So
we were talking about that earlier before we started. You were saying that it was cool to see kids.
Into
the toys, man.
It's awesome when you see kids run up and they're excited about something that was from when I was a kid. And
Exactly.
my kids have seen all that stuff because they don't have a choice. I'm going to make sure my kids have seen all the old cartoons, the old shows, and all the old classics, but it's cool to see other kids run up and being excited about, they see something and they run up there like, oh my gosh, you got Alf, or you got, whatever. And it's just, of course we've got all kinds of different toys from different, Thundercats or He-Man or whatever. And of course a lot of that stuff's come back, but a lot of it was, there's been nothing since then.
No.
And the kids have still seen it. So I think it's really cool that people are exposing their kids to that old stuff, because the old stuff is just more wholesome, or at least I think it was. I don't know.
I think it is. I think it's no problem. We were talking about, I know to kind of wrap this up and put us in a little bow tie on this, the American Gladiators. I forgot to mention this when we were talking about it. The lady, Ice, the Gladiator Ice, she was saying, like, this is back 90s, she goes, and women felt empowered. There was no bullshit. Like, they were strong. They had and the gladiators had a variety, because they had like 2 or 3 lesbians on the gladiators, and it was just like, all that was there, but we didn't need to broadcast it. It was there. They were all there. They had diversity. They had Gemini was like the first gladiator. He was a black gentleman, and they had different several black. I think name was Saber. There was several black gladiators in it. But nobody brought that up. Nobody was like, nobody said, "Oh, this is the first American gladiator that's black." No, they didn't have to bring it up. It was just
right.
Natural.
And
it was natural.
It almost seemed like maybe the people doing the interview were like trying to fish for something.
Right.
And I love that she was like,
Shut
what,
down.
it didn't matter. She was like, at that time, it did not matter.
We
We
didn't
were
give a
all
shit.
just a team. We were a group. Nobody was like, hey, you're an outcast. The females are this or that. It was just. Everybody was just there having a good time. Everybody was on the level playing field. They didn't, it's almost like they were fishing for it.
Yeah.
And she was like,
Not
no,
having it.
we didn't have that. Now maybe from the executive levels,
Yeah.
but as far as their group, like the other gladiators and all that, it was great to see that they, they were, of course, they were all just partying and doing drugs and sex.
Roiding it up.
Sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Yeah.
The other thing they had mentioned was like the games. Like the games weren't dumbed down for the ladies. It was the same games that the guys played, the women played.
Oh,
and that
man,
was
they
cool.
were taking
I
the
appreciate
hits.
that. That was cool that they didn't dumb that down.
Yeah,
And
same games.
And like I said, didn't have to talk about it. Didn't have to bring it up. Didn't have to be. It wasn't a press
just did it.
conference. It just happened.
Yeah,
man.
they
And
just
nobody
did it.
gave a shit, and that's what made it fun. But yeah, I didn't mean to go on that tangent, but I forgot to mention that when we were talking about the American Gladiator thing. And then if you are, because that's on Netflix, and if you're also on Netflix, August 1st, I know it's still a little ways off. August 1st, I think, what's his name? Is it Jake Paul? Yeah, Jake Paul. He's got his own Netflix series coming out talking about how his rise to where he's at now. So I'm interested to seeing that because like him or not, I think the kid is taking. So again, it goes back to that thing where people say social media is useless and pointless and stupid. Well, this guy hopped on YouTube, him and his brother, and they're multimillionaires or billionaires. I don't know if they're billionaires now, but they're rich as hell. So I think social media is not a waste of time. I think it's needed. I think it's needed. And it's going to be even more so. I think in the years to come, I think it's going to be a bigger deal. It's going to be more of an influence, and I think that's how people are going to do the business.
So he's a sports figure, right?
Yeah, he's boxing, and
Yeah,
I think he's getting into
but he's
UFC
also
now.
into kind of like culture, like
Yeah.
pop culture and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
I've
he's,
seen.
I think his.
I don't follow much
no.
sports, but I think I've seen some stuff more related to like the pop cultures.
Yeah,
culture
he
stuff
also
or
does.
whatever.
He also has that Prime drink, and that Prime drink, I think it got. It's a sponsor in some kind of Barcelona football league or something like that. It's like a big thing. It's like a big sponsor now in that the soccer thing and the football league. But he's huge, man. The guy is huge, and you can't knock him. And I think he's doing some kind of. I think he's in the. He's gonna be doing a UFC fight soon. So yeah, I again, you can't knock him.
Doing that. We
Yeah.
should do it.
We should.
You want to
yeah.
fight?
We can. I'll be winded. I got a good 2 minutes in me, and that's it. I'm out. 2 minutes, and I'm out, dude. I'm in and out. I'm in and out. But yeah, that Netflix, Jake Paul. Check it out, man. August 1st. I'm gonna be looking forward to that. We're gonna probably binge that one. I'm sure because Jennifer's not too excited about that, but I want to binge it because, like I said, I dig what he's into. The Prime drink is good. I find it a little sweet, but I enjoy it. I enjoy the Prime drink, and then it's the wrong one.
Logan's the Prime.
Oh, Logan
Logan's
Paul,
Logan,
the wrestler.
Yeah, he's the
He's
Prime
the
one.
Prime.
Yeah.
I thought it was Jake.
No, Jake's the one just boxing everyone right now.
Okay, so that's not his. Okay. Then I guess
He might be an investor. Who knows?
Okay,
But
I
it's
think social media lied to me, and I'm pissed now. So I will go back and double check this, and I'm going to sue somebody there at some point. But anyway, these guys. My point was the whole point of that is just social media. If you like it or not, it doesn't matter, dude. You can, it's. One last thing on the social media thing is like there was this kid. I was watching this thing on this kid. He said his dad. He saw his dad. His dad was a working class guy. There's a video on social media on YouTube or Twitter or something. Anyway, this kid, there was this kid, and he was on Twitter, and he was saying that he wanted to give his father back, pay his father back for sitting him through college. And he told his dad, "Look, you spent $40,000 on my college degree. He goes, I'm gonna pay you back." His dad's like, "No, you don't have to do that." He's like, "Yeah." So the kid is a YouTuber of some sort. I'm not sure. Anyway, the kid has a stack of $40,000 cash, and he gives it to his dad, and he's like, "Hey, here, Dad. I'm paying you back for the college." And Dad's like, "No, But it was cool that the kid is like, it took him no time to make $40,000 on YouTube. Like it's insane, dude. It's insane. Like,
but at the same time, you look at that, and that $40,000 to him is nothing.
yeah,
Like that $40,000 to his father.
yeah,
You can't pay that back with money
what he was trying to say,
because the sacrifices that his father probably made
yeah.
to afford that $40,000 is compared to I just made $40,000 for making some videos or whatever. I mean, which is great. I love to see people being successful.
Sure.
But when you're like, $40,000 is $40,000, well, no, it's not.
Yeah,
It's not like if you or I go out and do something that costs $40,000. I mean,
That took a while.
that's a life changing
Took a
amount of
lifetime.
money.
Yeah.
It's not the same as some star or whatever coming up. Oh well, here's $40,000.
Yeah.
The sacrifice
For sure.
wasn't the same for them that
For
it
sure.
was for us. Not that they didn't earn it, not that they didn't put in the
Right.
work, but that's a totally different thing. So I can see where even that dad may be like, that's you're not paying me back.
No,
because you don't have the sweat equity.
Yeah, you're right.
In that money that I did when I
True.
did it, that was I sacrificed everything to do that for you, and then you're just like, oh, here it is.
Yeah.
So it kind of comes
get it.
across like, hey, you don't understand.
No, yeah, and that's
Money's
why
money.
it was. But anyway, like I said, for me, it was just the thing that it was at least the kid acknowledged that the
Yeah,
dad busted
absolutely.
his ass for it. That was cool. Like I respected that part. But yeah, that part's another aspect of it that I didn't get. That I didn't understand. That like the father's like, I don't want it because you don't get how much work went
it's
into
not
it.
about the money.
Yeah, it's not. It's just
Yeah.
the effort. That
We're not even. You still owe me.
so another 40. Another 40 would make it even, dude. But yeah, I didn't know. I didn't know. Like I said, I get confused with all the Pauls. There's so many damn Pauls, so I get confused. And they're both handsome son of a bitches from the Midwest, and they're strong as shit. So I got confused. Good looking fellas. But yeah, the Prime drink. I'm a big Prime guy. Love that drink. It's good stuff. James, we got anything else, James? Got anything else you want to plug? You guys popping up anywhere? No.
So, we're going to pop up here and there between now and then, but the next one we know we'll be at is going to be the Houston Arcade Expo, and that's not just pitching us because we're just a spot there. The Houston Arcade Expo is a huge event. It's down in Houston. It's a weekend-long thing.
Oh, shit.
They've got pinballs, arcades.
Nice.
I mean, hundreds or thousands. I don't even know how many there are. And you pay to get in, but then all the games are on free play. So you can go in. Shit. I don't know if the ticket's like $50 for the weekend or if that's for the day or whatever. Okay. But anyway, I mean, I'm not very good. So to me $50 would get me through like 20 minutes of playing arcades.
I'm terrible at it.
There you do it, and that's your whole day or weekend or whatever. You get weekend passes or day passes. But there's entertainment. There's bands. They've got a stage.
Is this like a George R. Brown or something like that? Or is it George R. Brown?
Marriott, West Chase, right? I think it's Marriott West Chase. But if people just Google Houston Arcade Expo,
for sure,
it'll come up. Okay. There's always some celebrity, guests that are there doing signings and photo ops. Mm-hmm. There's different, musical guests. I think this year they're having the Harp Twins again. I don't know if you've heard of them, but they play like classical harp. But they'll do like heavy metal and stuff on harps. That's cool. It's really cool. Okay. It's very cool. They've been there a couple of years, and they're.
I need to come down and check y'all out.
Yeah, no, you definitely need to come see it
for sure.
I mean, obviously, come see us while you're there, but we're not the reason to come. The reason to come is all the other stuff. They've got, tournaments.
Sure.
I mean, it's every day they start in the morning, and you're partying till as late. It's at a hotel, so you can get a room. And until you just are completely drained and you just stumble to the staircase or elevator or whatever, get up to your room. But yeah, it's a great event. We try to go every year, but at least the last year and then this year we'll be actually set up as vendors there selling vintage clothes, vintage toys, whatever. But definitely come check that out.
For sure.
Decades of fashion and finds.
On Instagram and Facebook.
Instagram,
check them out, man. Give them a follow, man.
We come and do pop-ups here around the Conroe area.
Hopefully you come, guys. So. Y'all will come see us in August at the watering hole. That y'all come see us. For the Elvis
we'll
stuff.
come do a little pop-up
and,
there
and people can, if people are curious about the Elvis stuff, take a look at us at the watering hole. If you know, you know. And but we got Elvis coming through, man. That kid's that's Jordan Smith. I got it right, Jordan Smith, right? We got to get him on the show at some point, dude.
I've seen some of his stuff.
We all got to talk to him, man. We got to have a conversation with him and get him here with some old fashions and get him loose, man, and chit chat with him. And he's a good kid, man. He's a really good kid.
Yeah, I've seen some of his videos. He's actually pretty talented because there's a lot of people doing that aren't. I used to be in that game a little bit, and so I know I've seen a lot of guys that have zero talent or potential trying to do that. And that kid's actually got some talent in it. I think he's really, I think he's really got the potential to make it.
No, I think so too.
Because
we
he's
talked,
good.
Yeah, and we talked to him about a couple weeks back. We talked to him in person. Like he's definitely got that Elvis vibe to him. He's got that vibe. You can tell that he's there. It's there, man. He's cool. He's a good kid, and like I said, I love his backstory. And when we get him on here, I'd love for him to tell his backstory, why he got into the thing. It's a great story. He's a good kid. But yeah, Jordan Smith. That's gonna be in August sometime. But like I said, just follow us on the social media there. You'll find out at the watering hole I work at. You'll see all that stuff. But yeah, man, this has been cool, man. James, thank you for having us again for the dogs and the charcuterie board and the drinks and all that good stuff, man. We had a great time, man. It's been a blast.
Fantastic.
Yeah, man.
Fun having you guys.
Yeah, man. The other thing too was how's it again, Angel? How do you pronounce it again? Go for it.
Coffee Numpang.
Yes. San's joint, man. Check him out, man. Yeah. My boy San, man. Check him out. The coffee's amazing. If you go there, it's my special. Well, not my special, but the one that I like to get is the coffee soda, right? The coffee soda is the one that's like the Vietnamese coffee.
You don't even know. You gotta ask.
No. I'm just making sure. Like she's my. It's a coffee soda, and it's the Vietnamese coffee. So and San makes it for me every time. It wires me up, blows my socks off, dude. It gets me going through the whole day, man. So. And that's going to be the official 52 spot there. That's our spot to hang out. We're going to be there a lot more often. We're going to do some shows there with him, with San, and chit chat with him. But man, been good. It's back to me. It's good. I'm glad to be back. Go ahead, Angel.
I just want to say quick for the listeners, we are getting close to July 15th. Danielle Harris, Bastrop gas station.
The gas station.
People, they should
Tessa.
know. You should know.
Tessa, I know she's been blowing my doors off and talking us up about that. She's looking forward to it. I know we're gonna probably be dealing with 100-degree temperatures out there, but we're gonna get through it. We're gonna have a good time and eat some barbecue, get some barbecue and get some photos and stuff. And hopefully it'll be a good turnout. And I'm excited to do that. But James, thank you again. And we're gonna be
anytime, man.
Yeah, man. We'll do this again. Like I said, we'll get this time. Next time we'll get Jordan on here. We'll get Jordan Smith on here, and then we'll chit chat some more. And then it's been the 52, man. Thank everybody, and stay tuned.
I was just in my office and I heard a ruckus.